Welcome into Dark Souls 1. Now there are countless videos on YouTube of people one-shotting just about every single boss in this game on the regular new game cycle. I want to take that to the extreme, so today we're going to figure out just how many Dark Souls bosses you can one-shot in the highest level of new game, which is new game plus 6. So here I am at the asylum just going over a couple of weapons that I'm going to be using on this run. One is the Crystal Demon's Great Axe and the Dragon King Great Axe, as well as the Tin Crystallization Catalyst, Dark Moon Talisman, and Pyromancy Flame. So the reason that we're using the Crystal Demon Great Axe is as the highest AR weapon of any weapon in the entire game, and the Dragon King Great Axe is this special move that's going to help us out quite a bit. I'm also showing off a couple of miracles that we're going to be using. We're using the Crystal Magic Weapon and Lightning Weapon, or whatever it's called, Sunlight Blade. I'm watching some of the footage. Those two have the highest magic buffs out of any spell buff that you can use outside of Dark Moon Blade, as there you see the special attack of the Dragon King Great Axe. But we can't use the Dark Moon Blade because we are also in the Dragon Covenant, Path of the Dragon +3, because the Dragon Torso Stone at this level gives you a massive boost in physical attack damage for about 5 or 6 seconds after you use it. That combined with Power Within and the Red Tearstone Ring obviously is going to push our damage to some insane levels. Another quick thing of note is the Hornet Ring, which does increase critical attacks. There's a couple of plunging attacks you can do on some bosses, but it doesn't actually affect it in my testing. So here we are. First boss of the game, the Asylum Demon. This was my test run, and I was seeing if you could even do this without doing a plunging attack, because I know for a fact that you could kill the Asylum Demon using a plunging attack with the setup that we have. You see me walking in for the first time. We're using the Crystal Magic Weapon. We got our Dragon Torso Stone, roar, slam down, and do over 3,000 damage. And we have our first one-shot of the run. Not too bad. 1 out of 1, and we take our first death to boot. There you see all the bosses from the base game. Asylum Demon, off to a great start. Next up, we head up to the bridge to face off against our buddy the Taurus Demon. This one a little bit of a different setup in terms of what we are actually going to do. Again, we're using Power Within and Crystal Magic Weapon. This time, however, we're going with the Crystal Demon's Great Axe. It's only fitting that we do that, considering this is the boss that you get that drop from. So there you see, we apply the buff, Hyper Mode, roar. Actually, I didn't even roar that time. How about that? Thought I did, but I guess in this run we didn't, and we still do over 6,000 damage. Now, I know if you roar, you can do more than 8,000 damage in a single hit, but it's a one-shot either way, and there's 2 for 2. Moving on to the Gargoyles here. This I messed up, actually. You can see there. I did not roar, and this was like my 5th time trying these Gargoyles. You see, I just homered boned out that time, and I was going to try the Sunlight Blade, but you'll see, and I didn't notice this until I was editing the footage, and that I didn't actually do this properly. I forgot to roar on this hit right here. So we almost do enough damage. We do 1,800 damage, which is pretty good, and now that I'm looking at it, I do have the Red Tearstone, yeah. But I actually went through post-game in my next New Game Plus cycle and did this fight again. I was able to one-shot the first Gargoyle. You'll see my edited boss checklist at the end. This time I didn't, and I forgot to record the footage like an idiot. So I say 2.5 right there. In reality, we're able to one-shot 3 bosses. I went to the Dark Moon, or the Dark Moon Basin next to face off against the Moonlight Butterfly. Now, this is a interesting boss, considering it has a lot higher magic resist than some of the bosses that we faced so far. So we have to resort to Sunlight Blade here in order to get the maximum weapon buff damage that we can get against this boss. You already see me using the Havel Great Shield, trying to get into the red Tearstone ring range. This was also another really annoying setup, considering the magic damage that the butterfly likes to do sometimes, and getting into the fight at super low health and trying to bait out the proper time to use Power Within while it is attacking you constantly is quite annoying. So here we go, Sunlight Blade. I'm using the Dragon King Great Axe, and you see here we don't do quite enough damage, just around 3,600, which leaves the butterfly with 2 and maybe an 1/8 pips on the health bar. Try this again with the Crystal Demon's Great Axe and Sunlight Blade, but I think we actually do a little bit less damage on this R2 attack. Yes, indeed, with just another 3 and right there. So this was about the time where I stopped using the Crystal Demon Great Axe and just pretty much went exclusively with the Dragon King Great Axe. And I figured out while I was here, you know, I knew there was really no shot for me to one-shot Sif, but I kind of wanted to see how much damage we could do. Still, you know, a couple of bosses down, just one that we were unable to kill in one hit so far. And you see this is the first time, actually, that I was entering Sif's arena. Again, I came into this fight knowing that I had really no shot at an actual one-shot, but mostly curious to see how much damage I could do. See, missed the first swing, almost died right there. It's some good dodges in this run. But we roar, take our swing, and do 3,600 damage, which is just about half of Sif's health. I think if I could, I might be able to two-shot her, but can't one-shot, which is kind of the goal of this run, so there's another one that we could not. I also went back to the Asylum to see if I could do some significant damage with the Stray Demon. Totally underestimated how much health I would take from this fall. Twice, in fact, so we take 2 stupid deaths. This time, I come in almost dying once again, but I am able to get a roar off and a solid hit on Stray Demon, but just about 1/3 of its health bar down, and obviously there's no real shot at one-shotting the Stray Demon. So there's another boss that we can check off as having no shot at one-shotting. On to everybody's favorite gank boss, it is the Capra Demon, and this fight was the one that I had the second longest attempts on. This one took me almost an hour, just thanks to the run-up and some of the dog shenanigans, some of the hits that we took from the Capra Demon. It was really quite annoying. As we see the Capra Demon getting up on the ledge, then we kill the dogs. This was actually one of our first attempts, as we were able to narrowly avoid that attack, switch our gear up. First try on this one, we did a plunging attack with the Demon Great Axe. I guess I lied, I did try that Demon Great Axe at least one more time. And we were able to get into the dragon transformation, pop Power Within, get our weapon buff on our blade. And again, looking back in hindsight, probably should have used the magic weapon all along. Well, I think Capra Demon has a little bit less lightning defense. I think the added AR makes up for it, however. Do miss the first attack. Our plunging attack does 3,300 damage, which is just a little bit lower than the health. I think Capra Demon probably has like 34 or something. And I knew after doing some more tests that I was able to one-shot it. Now, I also did not notice this when I was doing this run right here, which ended up being the winning run, but I didn't realize this until I watched the footage back, is that I hit the Capra Demon on a couple of those swings with the Golden Tray trying to kill the dogs so that I could get my setup. Say it's invalidated if you want, but you'll see here once I'm able to get the actual hit off that it didn't end up actually mattering, as we are going to be able to do more than that 3450-ish that the Capra Demon has. And there you see me applying the buffs. Again, not quite as many as you can get some of the later games, although some of the damage just out of these few simple buffs in Dark Souls, you can get to some insane levels of damage. See, Roar, right, Tears Down Power within range, and 3778 damage to the Capra Demon, which again would be more than enough to one-shot it, even if I didn't do some chip damage beforehand, as the dogs rush in and lead me to yet another death. So there we have it, 4 bosses, early game of course, but they, they're all able to be one-shotted even at New Game Plus 6. I didn't show Quayle because she's got way too much HP that I didn't even really want to go through that setup just because it was kind of annoying. I did want to see how much we could use in the Iron Golem to see if we could, maybe knock him down with one swing. Turns out we could not, but we can get him into the wobble animation, and then a couple more swings takes him down the hunk of armor. So even if it's not a one-shot, a 3-shot and one of the beefier enemies in this part of the game in New Game Plus 6 is pretty impressive if I do say so myself. Over to Anrolando, and again, this was another one that I knew there was really no shot at one-shotting either of these bosses, but I wanted to see just how much damage I could do, and you'll see it here. Again, this was easily my best run out of any of the Ornstein and Smo fights that I did, where we get good RNG with Ornstein with that dash attack, and he does the lightning attack to follow up. You do one slam, take off more than half health, and 2 slams, so 2-shotting Ornstein in this stage is pretty impressive. See here, I was actually trying to go for the victory on this fight, just because there's no point in going back and resetting up, but I am able to do a good chunk of damage to Smo once I actually get a hit off. Because right here, yes indeed, we roar. So, I don't know, 2,400 damage, pretty good. Maybe like a little bit less than a 4th. They actually took me like 15 tries because they kept killing me a ton, but no one-shot. And speaking of number of attempts, outside of the Capra Demon, Gwendolyn, I was throwing my head at the wall trying to even get a hit in here because of the way that the mechanics of this fight work. I was running, trying to get the timing correctly with the slam attack, because again, we'll call it a weapon art, the Dragon King Great Axe weapon art takes quite a bit to set up. It's longer than most attacks in this game. That and the roar they have to do, I'm not even sure if you could actually get a good hit off on Gwendolyn. And see there, you're only doing, I think that's, again, maybe a quarter of his health. So, at this point I was just like, you know what, I'm not even gonna see if I can kill Gwendolyn. I'm just gonna take my L and go do some bosses that I know we actually have a shot at. You see, I try to roar and try to do the slam attack, and it just was not happening. So, take our death. No Gwendolyn for us. Again, no Quelaag, no Gaping Dragon, no Priscilla as well. I didn't even do any of that. I just wanted to go, at this point I just wanted to go after bosses that I knew I had a legitimate shot at one-shotting. And my next victim was everybody's favorite punching bag in Pinwheel. And Pinwheel was actually kind of interesting, as you'll see here. I had to try Pinwheel a couple of times. So the first time I used Sunlight Blade because I thought for whatever reason Pinwheel had a lightning weakness. He does, but first time we weren't able to kill him. Just under 2,700 damage and about 2.5 pips of his health bar left. So I came in next time with the Crystal Magic Weapon instead. I was able to roar, which actually kills one of his clones, and then we do way more damage, 3,800 damage. So maybe he has a lightning weakness, maybe he has a sunlight or something, a magic weakness, or a lightning resistance. I don't know. Either way, we get the one shot, and then I went on to the final boss of the game that I knew that I could actually one shot. which was the Bed of Chaos. You know, the Fire Sage Demon, the Centipede Demon, Ceaseless Discharge. I tried Ceaseless Discharge a couple of times, couldn't get him to die with one attack where he goes to the edge, jumps, and then falls off afterwards. So I just went ahead to the Bed of Chaos. For some reason it takes like 2,000 damage and doesn't die, and I don't really know what that was about. I was kind of confused when I was watching that in-game as well. Now, I tried to do some firebomb and throwing knife shenanigans. I've never actually done that before. I was at this for a solid 10 minutes and decided after wasting a bunch of time, I was like, you know what? Let's just go do this fight the quote-unquote regular way. So I like using shields here instead of weapons. You know, it's a little more interesting because you can block and you can still do damage with the shield even if it's not that much damage. All you need to do is a little bit on the orbs that she's got at her sides. So we're finally able to break through, and if you think that I'm not one of those people that's going to quit out and reset the fight, then you're wrong, because screw this fight. It's very, very annoying. As you'll see here in just a moment, when Hubris gets a little bit better of me, as I'll say. Running around. Hindsight is probably going to cut a little bit of this fight out because it is nothing that anybody hasn't seen before. I almost died a few times from this one. Thank goodness for cavalry shield. A nice run in, jump, take down the second orb after missing a couple of times. I don't really know what that was about. Swing like 6 times with the shield. And then slide down one more time. Get the real cool animation where the fire pops up behind you from the firestorm attack. I love sliding down in phase 3. It just looks really cool. One of my favorite animations in this game, even if it is against almost died here a couple of times thanks to taking some hits. Panic right there. Oh, I did die that time. Panic because I had throwing knives in my inventory and I was trying to take a sip of Estus. So instead, take a quick death there, and get back on to the middle section. Run and jump, which is how I always get down. I didn't even know you could fall down. I thought you always had to do a run and jump or something. Go in and try to hit this in some style. Unequipped both shields, roar, and I tried an R2 here, which missed for some reason. And then I panic here. I could have just swung. Instead, I get killed by another firestorm attack, like an idiot. Come back one more time. This time, almost die once again to the firestorm attack, and I'm having real trouble with the branches in this particular playthrough for whatever reason. Do end it in a little bit of style, however, I used a Dragon King Great Axe and kill the Bed of Chaos for what was our final one-shot boss of the run. So all in all, you're gonna get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 out of 22 base game bosses, and I didn't try any of the DLC bosses. Pretty good ratio. It was actually more than I was expecting. I knew coming in the Taurus Demon, the Asylum Demon, and the Bed of Chaos could be one shot, but I thought maybe there was only one, possibly two. I really didn't think that I was able to get 6. So here I'm just showing the final fight against Gwyn, where we're able to do a cheeky little 2-shot. But again, a good fight, or a good run all in all. Again, more bosses than I was expecting. 6 out of 22. So, what's that percentage? Should have done this math before I recorded this video. A little more than a quarter, 27% of the base game bosses, and again, didn't even try any of the DLC bosses, because I knew that there was just no shot at all. So, now yeah, this is a fun video to make. It's an idea I had. A lot of the one-shot runs going around, thanks to the backlog, setting that up. I feel like throwing my hat in the ring, because what else could I bring to the regular base game? But when I thought about it, I was like, hey, we can go to the hardest difficulty and see just kind of what we can do. So I'd love to continue on to some of the other FromSoft games. You know, Dark Souls 2 would probably be my next goal if people want to see that. And I'd also love to do Dark Souls 3 and maybe Elden Ring, Bloodborne, who knows? Demon Souls, although Demon Souls, I'm not so sure that you can one-shot any boss in any of those games beyond New Game. So, yeah. That being said, we'll leave you with one final kill on the Asylum Demon, as you can see just how ridiculous your damage can get. Thanks for watching, I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time.